Hey guys, I was swiping through my phone here, but I'm gonna get this started right away. Let me know if you guys can't hear me, or if you can hear me, or if it sounds okay. I'm gonna let other people join in because I'm noticing more and more people are coming in right away, right now. I know a lot of you guys are from my last couple webinars, which turned out really well. One was on first-time home buyers, and the second one was on flipping houses. We had about 600 people enter that last one. So notice kind of a lot of the same people. I've also noticed a lot of people across the country joining in, a lot of realtors. I know some people from California, Texas, kind of cool. We're gonna get started in about, give it another 2 minutes and then we'll rock and roll on this thing. It's not gonna be long. We're gonna keep it probably under a half hour. It's a very basic how to build a house, kind of giving you the idea and the numbers in Winnipeg, nowhere else. I do have my license in Vancouver as well, but I'm not going to go into the numbers in regards to the building, to be honest, because I just don't know it in Vancouver. And we're going to try to keep it. I'm going to keep it really basic, not going to go too much into the technical type of construction. Going to go run right through it. Very basic stuff, stuff that can help you if you're building a home with a builder, or if you're building a home right now, or if you're looking to get into the business in the future, or possibly a side hustle. I know a lot of guys that have regular jobs that do this on the side just to make some cash. I know a lot of people that are doing this to build and then keeping it as a rental, which is another great business. I'm all about long-term investments overall. And at the same time, I'm not going to get into apartments. I'm not going to get into multifamily. I'm not going to get into R2 zoning, triplexes, or commercial as well. Going to keep it really basic. It should help you out, should guide you through. There will be a copy of this webinar going to your email along with my YouTube page. And at the same time, there's a draw for anyone who enters for a $50 Visa gift card, which we'll try to do at the end. My developer should be here by the end of the webinar to kind of set that whole thing up. So, okay, we're going to get into it. 7:04. Get started. So, my name is Shiraz Ali. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. My background is my 8th year in real estate, or 9th year. I'm pretty much an old geezer now in this game. I've been doing it. I've been specializing in residential and investments overall. My previous history, a lot of hospitality and entertainment in my 20s. I learned a lot about business, learned a lot about business, had a lot of success, had a lot of failures, lost a ton of money. It was, and then I found real estate at the age of about 30, 31, now 36. Grades are coming in. I from real estate, I got into other businesses. I'm the co-founder of Stock Sharks. Also the co-founder of Canadian Islamic Wealth. My partner Jesse kind of manages that whole thing, and we actually just started in America about 7 or 8 months ago, and American Islamic Wealth is now born. So we do wealth management for Muslims across the country and now America. Stock Sharks is a third-party research company, global company, got people across the world. My partner JR is a stock market genius. So if you're asking me about stocks, I know a little bit, I don't know a lot, and I don't own Tesla stocks, okay? So congratulations on the people that are holding Tesla stock. Hope you guys enjoy those profits. So we're gonna get right into it. Kind of tell you exactly how this is all gonna go. And 1 second here, guys. I forgot how you set this up. Questions I will try to answer at the end. I'm gonna run through this whole thing and then get into it later. Like I said, if you guys leave, no problem. You will have a copy of this webinar in your email. So yeah, pretty much timeline on building houses. And like I said, I'm keeping this in Winnipeg. Now, the construction process is very similar across the world in regards to permits and everything else. The costs are going to be different. Best example in Ontario, the costs for permits, I believe, are a little bit more. The timelines are a little bit longer. In Winnipeg, the timelines vary, but you're looking, and I'm going to really break it down pretty quick for you guys. You are pretty much looking at about 10 to 12 months on building a house in the city, okay? That is a pretty normal breakdown from permits. So 2 months for permits. I've seen guys build houses in 6 months, by the way, after permits. I've seen guys build it in 5. But just to be on the safe side, because permits do suck and do take a while, especially right now with COVID, I would say, timeline 10 to 12 months. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea. The profit is in the purchase of the land, especially in Winnipeg, because we have different areas with there's different heights and maximum prices we can sell these houses at. So always remember the profit is in the purchase of the land. I kind of mentioned this in the flip webinar. The profit is in the buy. 3, profit on a home to sell. Now, this is before COVID. Guys that were doing infills across the city, and I'm not going to get into subdivisions. I did mention that, but I realized subdivisions is a whole nother webinar. So if the people here are not understanding what subdivisions are, it's basically you're tearing down one house and building 2 houses on a title, or on 2 different titles, where you have the ability of subdividing that lot. High profits, long term. It used to be very, very profitable in the past. I think the timelines for that and getting the subdivision done is not worth it anymore. You're looking at probably a year and a half, 2 years out before you make any money. But we're gonna keep going talking about infill. So before COVID, you're looking at 30 to 50 grand a house people were making when they were selling. Okay, keeping their cost average. Now I know guys that are building houses for a lot less than 160 bucks, 200 bucks a square foot. At one point, I knew guys that were building at 190 bucks, 95 bucks, 110 bucks. Once again, in Winnipeg, a square foot. Very cheap, very profitable. Right now, with everything going on, material costs have come down, but I'm just, like I said, average 160 to 200 bucks a square foot is quite normal for material and labor. There's over 50 steps to build a home. I'm going to not go into all 50 of them. I'm just kind of going to run through this and kind of give you an idea on the process, okay? So the first step, like this is pretty much the steps in this whole thing. Find a lot, design, permits, excavation, foundation, framing, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, insulation and drywall, cosmetics and finishing, and then do of course, your exterior work and landscaping. So few things you want to do is your subcontractors. So a lot of guys I recommend to, find a general contractor to kind of manage your whole property where you don't have to do anything. Of course, the margins change. If you're trying to, turn this into a business or do the work yourself, you're going to have to hire subcontractors. A lot of this list right here, which you will get, is the basic subcontractors that you're going to need in this whole thing. Hopefully it does help you out. And just keep in mind, you could find this from a few different sources. What I would do is try to find, reputable subcontractors. My advice to you, being in real estate for so long, I do no longer cheap out on contractors. I pay top dollar. And for me, I play a volume game. And at the same time, it's peace of mind that my shit is getting done. I do not want to deal with the headaches, which I have in past experience from the restaurants that I ran. I lost probably in total, I'm 36 now, my total life, I probably lost $500,000 in contractors. Contractors have taken off. So my advice to you is don't cheap out. If something's going to cost you 2 to 5 grand or 10 grand more for peace of mind that's going to get done on a timeline, go with it. Timeline is the most important thing in the building process. If you don't have your transitions in point, you can get burned and you can get held up for a long period of time. When you're getting held up, now you got the costs associated of holding a property, including mortgage and utilities and everything else in there. So I'm going to keep it rolling. So first thing is, of course, finding the lot. Like I said, the profit is in the lot. Keep in mind, depending on area, location, you'll have to know the numbers. Once again, talking about Winnipeg, the guys across the country, you have to know your areas, the neighborhoods, what these houses sell for, the type of lots, and what you can build on those lots. The best example of this, and once again, Winnipeg, you're not going to build a 2,000 square foot house in Sargent Park. You're probably going to build a 1,200 or a 900 square foot bi-level and sell it for a profit, right? You're not going to, possibly, you go to, let's just say you go to Transcona, you're not going to put in the high end stuff into this house because you're going to still make the same amount of profit. Now you might put in higher end stuff in an area called River Heights, where, you can get more for the dollar, where lot values are more expensive. So you have to know the area, you have to know the location. I haven't found a lot in like probably 3-4 months, guys. Like the market's kind of silly across North America. I know a lot of guys are trying to make money, but it's been tough. I've been hawking on the MLS. By the time it hits the MLS, it's too late. But at the same time, like I haven't come across any lots, and it's pretty crazy because I was coming across a lot pretty much once a week at one point. This goes along with flips, even rentals. It's been pretty difficult to it's been pretty difficult to find really good deals right now with the market it is. So a couple questions when you are building or looking for a lot. These are some very key things that you're going to need and understand, from street lighting to the foundation or structure of the ground, electricity, sewer lines, septic systems, which are septic tanks, which if you're in East St. Paul, West St. Paul, and other areas outside the city, like the suburbs, they only have septic tanks. So you have to look into stuff like that. And then driveway as well. Concrete costs a ton of money. So depending on the architectural guidelines, depending what the city wants, depending on a back lane, you're going to have to look into that, because that could, keep in mind, concrete's the most expensive cost in this whole thing. So you're going to definitely have to look into that a little bit more. Fun stuff, zoning. So zoning is pretty straightforward across the country. Now, most lots in the city are zoned R1. That's basic residential. Now, the cool thing about Zone 1 or R1 is you can build secondary suites, aka duplexes, on these lots now. The city approves it. It is a little bit more expensive doing it, of course, their way. There are different rules and regulations that you'd have to talk to your city planner if you wanted to do a secondary suite, which is quite possible, profitable, and it makes a great rental long term. I usually have my guys building the secondary suites when they do find a parcel of land, like an infill. It does take a little bit longer time, and obviously the cost to build out that secondary basement or secondary unit is quite expensive. So keep that in the back of your mind when you always want to take a look at the zoning. Commercial. Once again, we're going to talk more about residential, but make sure to know what the zoning is on that lot. Okay. And from there, you'll be able to kind of get an idea on what you can build on it, minimum size, number of dwellings or units that you can build on that home. Okay. And of course, you're going to have to look at the amenities and utilities, water and waste, water and sewer. You're going to have to understand that if that's not connected, you will get burned hard. You need all that stuff connected, especially in the city of Winnipeg. You have a little bit more options. Now, keep in mind, I've seen people buy houses in St. James and high traffic streets where it does cost a lot to shut that down when you are doing some of these utilities, and that can eat up on your costs. So you have to know the streets. Once again, if you're looking into subdivisions, you have to know that you're capable of subdividing a lot. I've seen a lot of people, Winnipeg's full of old character homes, and honestly, old people that complain about when a new infill goes up because they care about the character home. You have to know the streets. You have to know the area. There's got to be a past history of other infills on that street, or you might have to run into some problems with the neighbors. So always talk to your neighbors, get an idea and tell them what you're doing, what your idea is, and see if anyone is against it. And as mentioned before, understanding average house prices in different areas. Okay, like this is very, very important. Like I said, Bridgewater is different. The Maples are different. Fort Garry is different. St. Vital is different. So understanding the area, average house price, and what you're going to put in that house, what you should be buying that lot. Like River Heights lot, I'll go buy one for $220 today, no questions asked. But I wouldn't buy. I'd be out of my mind to pay $220 in Fort Garry or St. Vital. So you got to know the areas, got to know the lots. Every deal makes sense. I don't care which area you're in. You could be in the north end. You could be, off McPhillips. If the numbers make sense based on that area, based on the demographic, the numbers are broken down, but it's all going to be initially made on that lot price. Okay. Once you find a lot, you start the interior designs and the architecture drawing. So this is very important. Now, most people, especially in the city, mostly volume builders, they seem to be building the basic bi-level or basic two-story, okay? They're going off the same prints that everyone uses, and then they're changing up a few things here and there. So you'll notice that a lot of these infills are pretty cookie cutter. There people are going in and out just to build their home, sell it, and call it a night, right? Same thing when you're building secondary suites. You're putting renters in there. There's no reason to put hardwood floors. Just get the renters in there, build it as cheap as possible. Put the renters in there, refinance, get your money out, or sell for a profit. Like I said, once again, it all depends on area. So definitely that could take, I've seen guys do plans in 3 days. I've seen guys take 2-3 months, depending on what you're building, what type of house you're building. And if you're living in it yourself, if I was buying a house that I was living in it, I'd probably, spend time doing a pretty good job designing it. That in that process, especially the design part, keep in mind, this is the part where you want to add in your square footage, add in the rooms, add in the basement suite, add in electrical, plumbing, all the fun stuff where, that's going to be tough to change later. So keep that in mind. That's a very important part in this whole process. And talk to the city planner beforehand when you are building it out. The main reason is you want to know what you can build on a lot, especially in Winnipeg, where the city planner will say you can't build a bi-level and you already did two-story designs. You're pretty much screwed. You have to do new drawings. So definitely avoid that. Talk to your city of Winnipeg planner, or city of Toronto planner, or city of Vancouver planner, wherever you guys are at, and then take it from there. Okay, we're going to go. So once the drawings are done, you're going to apply for the permit. Fun. Now, the permit process is a bitch across Canada. This is the reason why we have the supply issue. It doesn't make any sense why it takes 2-3 months to get a permit, but it just does. In cities like Texas, you could get a permit done in a week, and in Niverville, you could get a permit done in a week, including Steinbach. So I don't know what the issue is. This has been going on for a very long time. So once the drawings are done, you do want to hand it in. Expect 2-3 months for the permit process to be complete. You're pretty much sitting on your ass waiting for that permit. You can get a permit for demo right off the bat, so keep that in mind. Demo, let's just say you're buying a lot with a house on the property. It's going to cost about $15,000 to tear down, once again, in the city of Winnipeg, okay? And there's things that I always recommend. Try to save some of those. If you are tearing down a house, go through the house and try to save some of the things that are there. I've saved furnaces, hot water tanks, flooring. I've taken the flooring and the kitchen and put it in one of my rentals. So don't just tear it down. Definitely go through that and try to save whatever you can. And appliances is pretty normal as well, guys. So the construction phase, like I said earlier, I've seen guys build up houses in 6 months after permits. I've seen guys take 12 months. I've seen builders take 2 years, 3 years. I've seen some mansions. So these guys take a little bit longer to build out. It all depends on your situation. I'm kind of talking about as a profit. Like I said, you guys want to make 30, 50, 70K on a house. It's a volume game at this point, and finding a lot and building multiple houses and trying to do it over and over quickly as possible. Good thing about this game, guys, it's not like flipping houses where you tear down a wall and there's 100 dead mice in the walls, or you tear down the carpet and there's issues or mold or foundation when you rip out the drywall. Construction process, once you have it all set up, from city planners to permits to your drawings to your architectures to your contractors to the inspectors, this process goes like this. It's quick. And it's all about the transition. So it does take time to get to that point to be a volume builder where now you are making 200, 300, 400K a year. And I know a lot of builders that do that, but they started small. They started with one house, got a feel for it, enjoyed the process, and then moved on to the next. To be straight with you, I've done this. Do I like it? I do not like it. I sell houses. I have other businesses. For me, I don't have the construction background or the patience to deal with this. I'm very long-term with my investments. I buy a rental, see in 20 years. That's my strategy, and it goes with stocks, it goes with cryptos, whatever I'm investing in. I'm very, very long-term. I do like the idea of finding a lot, building a house, building a duplex, and then refinancing, pulling out the majority of my cash. I do like that process, but when it comes to making a little bit of money and dealing with the stress of developers, subcontractors, city, realtors, etc., and the costs associated with it, I'm not a fan of this game. A lot of people are. So, like I said, there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate. I personally enjoy the rental game, and I like sales. I like people. People are great. So carrying on. Then we're going to go into pretty much what we call the horizontal construction. Okay, this is now we're getting down. So you tear down for 15K. First things first is pretty much the construction phase, and a lot of this stuff, especially the excavation and foundation work, it's not for you to do yourself. Okay, there's heavy equipment, there's complex engineering, a lot of people that are skilled in it, a lot of companies that are out there. So often, site preparation and foundation are the work is performed by the same crew. If the home has a full basement, pretty much the holes dug, the footings are formed and poured, the foundation walls are formed and poured, and then the area between them is leveled and fitted for utilities. Okay, the slab is poured. Now, once again, I'm not going to go really too crazy into the details on this, but kind of just give you the idea on the steps on how to build a house. Now, of course, there's also the surveying and site preparation. I should mention that this is done usually at the permit stage as well. Survey requires a specially trained professional to come out, a surveyor, to use equipment to mark the following lot lines, setbacks, underground utility lines, which you want to have. That's very important before you start actually digging. Okay. Now, once the foundation's poured, excavation done, the foundation is poured, you are pretty much looking into the vertical construction. Okay. So this is the part we're going to start with the framing. Okay. The floor system, walls, and roof systems are completed. Pretty much what we call is the shell or the skeleton of the home, which you'll notice when you drive by different suburbs. You'll notice, oh, yeah, the wood's up. That is pretty much the beginning after the foundation is poured. Plywood is applied to the exterior walls and roof and windows, and exterior doors are installed. Pretty much a house wrap is going to go around it. It prevents liquid water from infiltrating the structure and reduces the likelihood of mold and wood rotting. So that is pretty much the first phase, is the framing, guys, and this is very, very important. I've seen how guys finish framings in a month. I've seen them shorter than that. You'd be surprised at some of the crews that I've seen work and get this done pretty quick. And then at the same time, you'd be finishing up some concrete work as well with the basement floor, the garage, etc. So all of this could be going on at the same time. After the framing, you are looking at getting into the mechanical, plumbing, electrical. Okay. Now, this is very, very important. This is where things get tricky with inspectors. This has everything to do with permits as well. So once pretty much you go in, you're doing the plumbing first. Okay, that's what I always recommend. The electrical stage would be last. Okay, so shell's finished. You do siding, you do the roofing. The plumbing contractors start coming in. They do the pipes, they do the wires to the interior walls, ceilings and flooring, sewer lines, vents, water supplies, and each fixtures are installed. Bathtubs, shower units are all put in place. Pretty much anything heavy. At the same time, you're going to be doing the duct work, okay, for installing the heating, venting, and air conditioning, the HVAC systems, right? And also, if at the same time, the furnace as well. And then, of course, the electrical. Once the roof goes on, the house is pretty much dried in. An electrician will come in, do the outlets, light switches, run wires. And now that is the most important part of this house, because now at this point, the inspectors will come in. So here's a brief checklist for common plumbing, which you guys will get as well. So refrigerator, garbage disposal, sauna, steam room, which seems like I've seen it in a few houses this week. Shower fixtures, water heater, water softener. Once again, if you're in the subdivisions like West St. Paul and East St. Paul, you're going to have the water softeners and the septic tanks. So yeah, keep in mind, the plumber is going to go through all this, hire a plumbing crew, come in, do their thing. And once this is all finished, pretty much the electrical and the plumbing is pretty much visible, especially the electrical. The inspector is going to come in. He's going to inspect all three things, and he's going to say, okay, you're good to go. Close up your walls. So when that happens, we get into the fun part of insulation. Okay, so we're going to keep this house warm, especially in good old Winnipeg. This plays a key role in creating a more comfortable, consistent indoor climate. Of course, it has everything with homes energy efficiency as well. The three most common insulations used in homes are fiberglass, cellulose, and foam. Usually in this case, I've seen it in different houses. I saw someone do spray foam recently in Fort Garry, and his heating bill is nothing, but it cost him about 18K to do. So usually go with the cheap stuff. And we're pretty much putting this across the whole house, wiring up the house, and you could get this done in very quickly. I've seen guys finish it in a day or two. So from there, you are pretty much getting into pretty much the fine finishings. Okay, so we are talking about drywall. So sorry, go back one sec. After installation, we're going to drywall up this house. So drywall is hung in tape, so the seams between the boards aren't visible. Drywall texturing is completed. The primer coat of paint is applied after taping. So you do some taping, you do the primer. Contractors begin at the same time. We'll start doing the exterior finishing, the brick, stucco, stone, or siding in Winnipeg. Once again, some areas will do the basic stucco, acrylic stucco, but I've seen we don't do much brick here. Ontario does a lot of brick. And then we do like different wood siding, vinyl siding, stuff like that. So pretty much drywall is getting done, and then we are doing some of the finishings after that. And there you go, guys. So finish interior trim, install exterior walkways and driveway, doors, trim, cabinets, vanities, fireplace, everything. And then, of course, the final coat of paint, okay? And then, of course, you could do all your light fixtures, all your fun stuff that you want to add to it. Feature walls is a popular one, backsplash, shit like that, guys. The really basic stuff that you can get done that really gives it, that boom look, along with flooring. So everything in a house is the cosmetics you could get done in 2 weeks. But overall, I've seen guys build out the process where it kind of takes up its time is definitely the electrical, even the foundation, and then concrete at the end. If all of a sudden winter comes in good old Winnipeg winters, a lot of that exterior work, for example, stucco and concrete, won't get done till the summer, which isn't fun, along with landscaping, which is in this last slide that we're talking about. So depending on what you do, I've seen guys spend $100 grand on $200 grand on landscaping, which blows my mind. But even just basic grass and a fence could cost you a pretty penny these days. And then, of course, you could go in, as mentioned before, do some work, the landscaping, the electrical, the lights, the toilets, the countertops, and then, take it from there. And then the inspector will come review the whole house, walk right through it, and tell you you're good for occupancy, and then you could sell it, you could rent it, you could whatever you want to do with that bad boy. That is the basic of the house. I'm going to get more into the financing stuff now, which a lot of people ask. And keep in mind, guys, I didn't go into the technical aspects of each and every single construction trade. I just want to kind of keep this basic. And once again, I was going to talk about subdivisions, but realized, it's better to keep that for another completely different PowerPoint or a completely different webinar. Now, you guys could throw out some questions. Ali, I did do a fix and flip seminar. You could check it on my YouTube page. I'm actually probably better at that than building houses. And Ali Shahid, you asked me about roughly cost to get on all this. I'm going to get into the stuff about financing here. So finding the cash. So once again, talking about Winnipeg, not the other cities. Like I said, I got a lot of guys in Vancouver on this thing. But basically, you'll need 20 to 25% down to get a construction mortgage. Okay. Sorry, guys. This slide's from my last flipping one, but it kind of gives you the same idea. These mortgage lenders are probably the best ones when it comes to construction mortgages on the residential side. What occurs here is they give you a draw mortgage. So you put 20 to 25% of the whole project, land and construction costs. You will give them a budget. They want a 10% reserve in your account just in case you go over budget, which most first-time builders do. So they want to see that cash in your account as well. At the same time, they will release the first draw, let's say for the foundation. So they'll release 35,000. And once that's done, they'll do a drive-by. Then they'll release the next draw. Then they'll release the next. So let's say framing. Then they'll release the next draw for plumbing, electrical. Then they'll release the next draw for finishings, and then they'll release the rest on completion, right? So that's how it usually works. Usually they're interest-only payments. I use them. I use Time Back Credit Union more than most people out there. Sonova, I've heard a lot of success with. Assiniboine as well too. I have the relationship with Steinbach Credit Union, so that's why I deal with them. They're relatively very straightforward. Can you lose money on building a house in Winnipeg? To be honest, I've never seen it. I've seen guys, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I've seen guys lose money on it. Not a lot. I've seen guys lose 5 or 10 grand just because they messed up on the lot. Or, worst case scenario, you just rent it out and don't take the loss at the given time, especially with the way the real estate market goes. In Winnipeg, we don't have those crazy gains like Toronto has, but it's a pretty safe place to build houses. My whole take on Winnipeg real estate, it's still relatively cheap compared to the rest of the country. I think long term, you cannot go wrong with investing here. And lately, I've been looking at Saskatoon because I see it's booming. When it comes to investing in Toronto or Vancouver, you might get the short term gains, but you're playing with a lot more money and a lot more risk and a lot more competition out there. It all depends. I think at the end of the day, long term, I don't think you can beat Winnipeg real estate because you still can buy houses and build houses for under 350, which blows my mind. You can't get shit all in Toronto for 350, guys. So there's, in regards to the guys advertising, that's all good. I'm here to support your guys' business. So in regards to the cost, kitchen stuff, it all depends. You go to IKEA, you go to Kitchen Craft, there's Imperial Kitchens. It all depends on cost. I would say recommend, it's just going to go up per square footage depending on your material that you're putting into a house. So just keep in the mind, understand your cost beforehand. What I recommend is before, let's just say you find a lot, go and check out the material costs, get quotes, give your drawings to like Home Depot, give them to, the drawings to your flooring guy, give the drawings to your paint guy and kitchen guys, and let them go through the drawings, be like, how much is this going to cost? And they'll break it down right off the bat, put it in a spreadsheet, and then pick and choose who you want to deal with. So that's what you do first. Once you get the drawings, get your costs in order. In regards to first thing you want to do is just get some money. I would probably, like I do in all my business, shadow someone, understand it, cut someone else into the project that's done houses before, and look at your worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you have a house that you're going to rent. It's probably going to be worth a bunch of money in like 10 years. So I think that it's a great opportunity for people to kind of get into the game. I always also recommend maybe it's good to kind of get your feet wet by flipping a house first. Now, GN, are real estate allowed to flip houses? Yeah, we're allowed to flip. Well, actually, I shouldn't say we're allowed to buy houses to flip, but the real estate board actually wants us to keep it as a rental. And in some case, if you can't keep it as a rental, you can't hit the refinance, you're capable of selling. So you have to disclose as a real estate agent, you have to disclose that you're owning a house or you bought it to flip. But I bought houses off the MLS before. I kept them as a rental. I have flipped houses and stuff through a court before in the past. Realtors do build houses. A lot of realtors build houses in the city. Tons do. They just don't. Once you do it more of a business, the Securities Commission will ask you what you're doing, and you just kind of tell them, "Hey, this is a situation." But usually, in my case, when I am doing stuff like this, I'm more long term. I don't like selling product, and if I were to sell, I just disclose as I'm a real estate salesperson. I think that's actually across the country. I think anyone that's in real estate has to disclose that to the buyer that they are, or the seller that they are a realtor. Finding plans for a duplex. To be honest, hey Susan, that's a good question. A lot of the guys, for example, Star Building in the city, you can go through them and get all your supplies and material, and at times they will do the drawings for you as long as you're buying the supplies and the material from them. There's a lot of other people out there that are doing plans. Pretty much have to build out your own plan because the city's going to go off that. You could go off other plans, but the city's going to approve the plan that you have for the permits. Rajiv, is it worth building through a builder and selling in a few years? Honestly, I couldn't tell you that. It's kind of crazy right now. I see 1,500 square foot, 1,600 square foot houses in, let's say, Buys and Run, that new area on Waverly. They're asking 560, 580, and it blows my mind. So a year ago, you could get 1,200, 1,400 square feet for 420. So the material, they want to say material costs, it's actually all bullshit. The material cost has gone down, guys. They're just milking it, which I would do as a business too. There's a supply issue in South Winnipeg, which everyone knows. And now the builders are going to take advantage of it, and I would probably do the same. But that's pretty much what the case is. Keep in mind, when you are building a house with a builder, they are making more of a premium. Their costs are a little bit higher. They're more volume builders. And at the same time, you got to keep in mind there's GST on new builds across Canada. Government's going to take that. And at the same time, always keep in mind when you're building with a builder, there's landscape, there's the basement finishings, like it adds up. So whether your cost is 560, 570, by the time you get into the design center and get everything done, you're probably in that for 100K more. I built a lot of new builds. Like I just sold 2 lots recently. I always recommend, I always tell my clients that hey guys, like this could be a good thing because you're going to get mostly what you want. But at the same time, I've had guys build $2 million houses and miss things and didn't like the process. I don't think you could, but to be honest, Rajiv, you could possibly build and make money in a few years. I just, right now with the market the way it is, I couldn't tell you. I found a lot for sales North End, Ibrahim. Honestly, there's a lot of areas. Like I said, you gotta make the numbers work. How do you find reasonable price lots in this market? You gotta find the leads yourself, to be straight with you, Hamilton. So it's a good question. Door knock, find the lots, talk to commercial agents, talk to realtors. And yeah, Susan, how do you avoid a teardown with asbestos in a teardown? Pretty much you have to do it's kind of like an environmental, but you're pretty much, I would just add that 15K to your budget and that should cover it. Drawings, there's a lot of guys out there to get drawings for, like I said. So even you could go to Star Builders and they could find guys. Flora, Dufferin. I wouldn't touch areas like that depending on what block on Flora myself. So Morrison, good question. You probably can't do anything. When you build with a builder, and I know a lot of guys that are building with builders right now, whether it's Venturi, A&S, Qualico, Artista. I have relationships with all of them, but you probably remember if you built a house that they gave you a pretty thick contract and you got lawyer approval on it. That contract favors the builder. When COVID happened, material costs did go up. They had an excavation clause where they could charge you more for material to a certain cap. That was going on. They never had that for like 6 years since I've been in I've been in real estate longer, but for 6 years, they never had that. Material went up. They couldn't keep track. And of course, they had the escalation clause, which is normal, which makes sense. Now, when it comes to the possession, some of these builders, especially, we don't know what's happening with permits. We don't know what's happening with trades. We don't know what's happening with inspections. They could have screwed up the inspection. I think if the possession is 6 months after you were supposed to get possession, I don't think you really have any course, unfortunately, but you'd have to take a look at your drawings. Your contract to see if there's not anything you can do. Jeff, are there a lot of BRRs happening in Manitoba? Yeah, I do a ton of it. I love it. Unfortunately, I haven't found any good leads recently. We are going to do another webinar on the BRRR, the BRR, the buy, refinance, I can't even remember it now. Buy, repair, refinance, rent out type of situation. That is what I love to do long term. Lots of options. What's your normal take home profit from building, selling as a realtor? To be honest, we just save on commissions. We still pay out 2%. It's pretty much the same cost. Tristan, doesn't make a difference. We're making the same amount of money as you. The real guys making money are the guys that are keeping their trades really cheap or have family members working or building half the house themselves. Those are the guys that are really making money. Just like flipping a house, the guys that are doing the work themselves are the guys that are making real money. Someone play safe and invest in your company. I don't really have a company, man. I just kind of do my own thing in regards to real estate. I partner up with a lot of guys here and there to do stuff. But like I said, I'm very long-term with my investments. A lot of guys aren't. So that's kind of the difference. Jordan, I'll keep your contact information. Hamilton, I get asked about mentors. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time right now. I'm here to help though. If you want to text or shoot me an email, I'm here to help. I will help as much as I can. But it all depends on what you're trying to do, whether it's flipping houses, building houses. There's other people out there that can guide you better than me, which I could put you in touch when it comes to building houses. Mohan, which area is good right now to build a house in Winnipeg? To be honest, wherever you find a lot, just pretty hard. So Jitesh, good question. when it comes to real estate, guys, no matter what you're doing, there are so many different avenues you can go. Just like investing stocks, whatever it is, there's so many different investings or different avenues you can go. So whether you're a builder or you could be a realtor and do sales, like what I do, and rentals, which is what I did. So I pretty much niche down to rentals and sales. That's my game. That's what I love, right? And I've done flips, I've done builds. So it's like you kind of niche down what you like most, and you could make it very lucrative. And you can make it lucrative in any city. As mentioned, I'm looking in Saskatoon right now. I've been in Texas pretty much 3 times over the past few months, learning the Texas market. Tons of opportunities out there with 20,000 lenders and properties skyrocketing. And the same fact that you could build a house because they don't have basements there in 4 months. So there's a lot of different avenues, different things you can do. You just kind of have to understand the market, try to find people you can trust, and of course gamble, guys. This is I'm going to say gamble, but you're going to be risking a lot of money in this game. The best thing about real estate is your contingency plan is you just rent out this property. How did I get into the real estate game? I got into it because I was failing at multiple businesses. I wanted to find a business where I didn't have anybody to rely on. I didn't have high leases and high accounts payables. And I found real estate. Alhamdulillah, it's been a pretty good business on my end. I learned a lot, met a lot of good people. And once I got back on my feet, I jumped into other businesses. So learning a lot still on a daily basis. I like people too. I like learning from a lot of other people. And where did I take the real estate course? It's the real estate board in Manitoba. Manitoba Real Estate Board on Inkster and Quaden. They have a website too. You can log in. You do the course. The course has changed by the time I did it. Like it did a long time ago. It's changed now. I know every city's different in regards to the course. I think Toronto's like longer now. Calgary's longer. Vancouver's longer. So I think Winnipeg still has it pretty easy. What's the highest one can charge for rent depending on area? I've had rentals that I charge $1,200 to $1,500 depending on area, and then I have one by the university. It's like $2,600 a month. So all depends on area, depending on bedrooms, depending on location, depending who's renting in. And also keep in mind, Bridgewater, Sage Creek, I've seen houses rent for $3,000 to $3,500 to $4,000. So next online class, I'm actually taking some time off, guys. I am headed back to Texas actually right away, and then I'm going to try to not work so hard in November, December. So I have a couple other webinars for my other businesses. We have one for Canadian Islamic Wealth coming up at the end of November, so I'm going to focus on that. And I'll get back into the real estate probably December, January. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hamilton, I don't manage my tenants. I actually have no patience for tenants. I have a friend who runs a property management company. He's solid. He takes 10%. I don't babysit anything. He just calls me when there's issues, sends me an invoice. I just pay it. But he's been great. He does a lot of my houses along with my friends that have rental properties. I have a lot of investors that have across the city. So he's been great. There's a lot of companies out there. How's the real estate business during winter? To be honest, it's all dependent on how hard you work. I've sold 10 houses in January before, and a lot of people, like I know realtors take off, say, "Oh, it's wintertime, I'm dead." I don't care what business you're in. If you grind and hustle, you'll be successful. Just work harder, spend more money on marketing, go out, meet people, and take it from there. Do you have recorded? Yeah, my YouTube channel. I think it's Shiraz Ali Realtor, and the webinars are on there in the past, some other videos on commissions, real estate market update. I try to keep it fun. My LinkedIn. You guys can contact me. Also, the reason I do this, guys, is kind of show you guys what I do. I'm trying to educate you guys at the same time. Hopefully, you guys do like me as a person, and refer your friends, family. If you have any questions, I'm going to send you a link here. You could schedule an appointment with me online. And in person. Right now I'm doing more virtual meetings and then home evaluations as well. That's the link. You guys want to get a little bit more, get on a call with me, whether it's Zoom or on the call or in person. We could talk more and give you some ideas. I think there's some more slides actually, guys. You guys got me going. No, that's pretty much it. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm here to help at the end of the day. I don't try to beat around the bush. If I don't know something, I'll put you in touch with someone that knows what he's doing. But in regards to condos, I do own a condo. So my personal opinion, and this isn't financial advice because I'm not allowed to give it, but I think the condo market's coming back in Winnipeg. I bought a condo years ago. I'm getting killed on it, but I think the condo market is coming back in Winnipeg because there is not going to be a nice house under $300,000 in Winnipeg soon. So I believe the condo market will come back. I think it will come back slowly. And I started noticing these townhouse condos from South Point to Bridgewater are selling like crazy. I just sold one for way more than what it's worth. So I started noticing that because at the end of the day, no one's getting anything nice under 300. Bottom line, when you're doing a condo investment in Winnipeg, you're not going to get the crazy gains and you're not going to cash flow as much because of the silly condo fees we have here. I think I'm losing money every month on my condo. Riverbend's a great area. When it comes to flipping, every area is a good area, Guggen. It just depends on the numbers and if you get the comparables right. Marcella, you can always text me. You got my number from back in the day. That's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate the time. You will get a copy of this. You can forward it to your friends. Keep in mind, you can always touch base with me, reach me at any time. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I have workers if I can't make it. If you want a free consultation, I have a team in place that work. What did I study in college? I studied sciences and then I went to accounting. Don't talk about my college. It's not good. My post-secondary is not there, guys. But yeah, it was again, my parents wanted me to be a doctor and pharmacist. So I was just like, typical Pakistani parents, but found real estate and it's been a blessing, guys. Take care, guys. It was fun. We'll do it again. And if you guys have any subjects, questions, let me know and we'll keep it consistent, guys. Take care. Enjoy the night. Oh shit, the draw. You know what? My designer is actually not in here. We will do a draw. The last two guys won. Everyone that's been in the webinar will be entered in a draw. I'll get my developer to do it. He actually had a meeting, so he wasn't here. I don't know how he does it on the computer. And someone's going to win a $50 gift card, and we will touch base with them. Take care, guys.